Good morning, I'm John Kynaston and this is episode 26 of my Love Ultras. I'm continuing on my countdown to the Northern Traverse. I'm recording this on Sunday the 11th of Feb 2018, which means that next Saturday, the 17th of Feb, the race will be 12 weeks away. So 13 weeks yesterday and 12 weeks coming on Saturday, which is basically 3 months, isn't it? 3 blocks of 4 weeks. And I do feel as though I'm in the sort of heart of my training now. I've had January to build up, and the next few weeks and months really are the sort of heart of it and what I'm planning to do in my preparation for the race. I'm enjoying doing these just kind of weekly, just doing a little update, and as much for myself really. It'll be a nice record of this challenge that I'm taking on. And hopefully if it helps anybody else as well, then that's a bonus. But I enjoy doing these just for myself and just being able to keep a record of what I've done. This week was quite interesting. On Tuesday there was a webinar. Never done one of these before, and James Thurlow, who's the race organizer, invited all those who are taking part in the Northern Traverse and the Lakes Traverse to basically log in, and he was on his computer at home and he was chatting. It lasted about an hour or so. And it's great because James basically went through the routes and he went through various rules and regulations of the challenge of the race, and also there was opportunities to ask questions as it went along, so it was quite fun. There was on the right hand side of the computer you could type your question, and once he saw them he would answer them. The question I asked was about the length of the race, because when I downloaded the GPX file it came up as 176 miles, whereas Wainwright's book and it's advertised as 190, so I was trying to work out what was more accurate. And James explained that basically the way it was recorded probably was once every minute rather than once every second on the GPS, so I think it is nearer 190 than 176. And when I do my recce's, I'm hoping to pretty well recce the whole course over 3 weekends. So that'll give me a more accurate distance on my watch anyway, so I can see what's going on there. But it was really helpful. If you're doing the race and you didn't get a chance to listen in on Tuesday, then you can it's on the website, the race website. If you go on to, I think it's details or updates, and there's a link there and you can watch it in your leisure. And I would recommend it. It was really helpful. James just talks through the route and points out the places where it is a bit more difficult and where there might be 1 or 2 changes, so it was well worth watching that. My training this week has had a good solid week. I've ran 5 times in the end. Monday I did my Pollock run, off-road run at lunchtime, and then I did the same run on Wednesday. I always alternate it, so one time I go clockwise and the other time I go anti-clockwise, just to make it a bit different. On the Wednesday I had a busy day at work. We had an event on, a gymnastics event, so I knew I couldn't run at lunchtime, so I decided to leave the house about 6:15. I drove to my school, parked the car there, I was in my running kit, and then I ran. So I set off about just before 7 in the end, and I did the loop. I got a shower at work, so it was good. So I had my shower, I took some breakfast with me, so I had my breakfast at work and then got on with the day, and that was quite good. And the other thing I was done is that I've got some new hokers. I'll probably talk a little bit more about this later, about my shoe choice, but I was aware that this race is a long race, and I wondered whether my Skechers would give me enough support, particularly in the second half of the race. And I've always loved using hokers in the past, but they narrowed them, and so I couldn't really fit them with my bunion. But they've got a new model out, the Stinson ATR, so I got a pair of those last week, and I've started wearing them, and they are just great. They're wide enough, they fit in my foot fits in fine, and so I've started wearing them, and it just gives me an extra option now for the race. So I've got my Skechers, which I love, but I've also got these hokers which I can use as well, and will use when my legs get tired. I'm going to decide whether I start with them or bring them out later, or we'll see. Anyway, so I wore them for those runs, and it was really good. Thursday I did a road run at lunchtime, just over 6 miles, and again felt really comfortable. The thing that's really encouraging me, I've been wearing the insoles now for 2 weeks, and they are definitely making a difference. The support on my arch is there now. I feel as though when I land, I'm not having to put pressure on it, and I can hardly feel my tendon now. So I'm hoping in the next few weeks that I'll suddenly realise, oh, I can't feel it at all, and it's gone completely. But it's definitely just on the edge now, as it were, of being completely gone, which is really good news. Yesterday we joined the Glee Club. This is a group of runners that run in Scotland, and different people organise the routes, and John Munro organised this one. He lives near the Oak Hill Hills, and so we met at a retail place outside Stirling. Katrina came, and Cammy, our good friend, and we joined. It's about 30 odd runners, and we had a beautiful run up on the Oak Hills. It was 11.72 miles. A lot of it was in the snow higher up, quite windy, but it was just really good fun. It was just great running with new friends and old friends, and we thoroughly enjoyed that. So that was a great day yesterday. I was probably hoping to do near 18 or 20, and so we decided we'd do a little run this morning. So just back from a little road run with Katrina, we did again just over 6 miles. So that took us up to 38, I think, for the week. So that was quite happy with that. And then for this coming week, these next 2 weeks really, or probably 3 weeks, are going to be a little block of really good hard training. I'll do a similar pattern in the week, a couple of off-road runs and a road run, and then next Saturday Katrina and myself are doing a 40-mile run. We're going to drive up to Benglass, and then we're going to run out and back north, run out 20 miles, turn around and run back. And that's going to be the last long run before the Hardmoors race, which is 4 weeks after that. So that's going to be a really good run for myself, but also for Katrina, getting ready for the Hardmoors race. So we're both looking forward to that next week, next Saturday. And then the following weekend, I've got my first recce weekend. That's when I'll go down, get the train St. Bees, run to Grasmere, which is about 38 miles, stay with Dave, my friend Dave Troman in Keswick, and then the next day run from Grasmere to Shap, and then get the bus and the train home. So these next 2 weekends, I'll do 40 miles next weekend, and then the following weekend I'll do just over 60 miles over the 2 days. So I'll say this next 2 weeks are going to be a good block of training, and then the week after that, the following Saturday, which will be the 3rd of March, I think, I'm planning to do a good hill walk up in Scotland. There's a route called the Aurica Alps, which is 5 Munros, and Cammy hopefully is going to come with me, and we're going to have that do that route, and that's going to be a lot of walking and probably get my poles out as well and practice a bit on that. So say these next 3 weeks in a sense are going to be a good block of training as I build up for the Northern Traverse. For my little item for this week's Love Ultras, I'm going to show a flyover of the route. I put this out a few days ago as a separate separate video, but I thought I'd include it in this series as well. And my good friend Gary Scott, who organises the Trail Ultra races down in England, he did this for me for the West Highland Way. So I sent him the file, and he puts it on Google Earth. I'm sure I could do it. Well, maybe I couldn't. But anyway, Gary's helped me to do it, and he did the basic thing, and then I've put the little comments in as it goes along, and the distances. It's rough, approximate distances based on Wainwright's book, but it'll hopefully give an idea. But it lasts about 5 minutes, and it's the whole route as a flyover, so it gives you a real feel of how far it is, and it gives a real feel of what the route is like. Gives you a sense of the climbs and the descents, and whether you're going through fields, whether you're going through the little towns, the little villages, and various things. So if you're doing the race or thinking about doing the race, then this will give you a little flavour of what it's like. So be back in next week after we've done our 40-mile run, and give an update on how things are going then.